kings, we pound for pound. UFC thrills, stills nights get loud. Big EQB, that's how we get down.
Yo, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the GRP. Back at it again on a Thursday, and we got a lot to talk about, man. I'm not gonna fuck around too. Oh, I shouldn't say that so early, huh? I'm not gonna mess around too much in the beginning here because I got a lot of stuff to talk about, man. What up, Infinity? We just caught Infinity on his short little live that he just did. He's got some good stuff going on. And I'm gonna have to hit him up because I liked what I heard and I jumped in the middle of it. So yeah, make sure you go follow his page because he's got some good stuff coming up here. And I don't have all the details because I was getting ready for this, but I will get some more details and we'll have to talk about that. So I have a couple things coming up this weekend, so I got plenty of time to update you guys on that. If you don't get over there to Infinity's page and watch the video he just put up, I'll have some info for you and we'll talk about it this weekend because I will be doing a watch party podcast for the UFC Qatar. Why did I forget? I don't know, because I've been doing content all week for it. I don't know how the hell I forgot. But UFC Qatar happening on Saturday. And yeah, I'm gonna do a watch party. It is an early card, so I will remind you multiple times throughout the show not to forget that it is not a nighttime card, it is a daytime card. So it's 11 a.m. for me, so that is Arizona time, Central time, whatever the fuck times. I don't even know what it is anymore at this point. Stupid time change and everything like that messes with everything. So just go to UFC or Google. This is the best way to do it. Google UFC events and it'll tell you what time it's going to start in your time zone. If it's on the main card, it'll tell you what time that starts. You click on prelim card, it'll tell you what time that starts. For me, starts at 8 a.m. Tyler Fish, what's going on, man? So yeah, that is what's going on for Saturday. And we got UFC Qatar. We got a pretty damn good card. I'm actually excited for this one. It's, you know, it's a good card for being a fight night. That's what, you know, that's what it is. And the two fights at the top of the card are, you know, enough for me, but there's enough supporting fights throughout the card as well that make this a pretty damn good card. So I'm looking forward to it. Definitely a great fight night, Tyler, for sure. Oh, my pop-ups aren't working. Let me get that going. There we go. Oh, well, there it is. I was like, damn, it ain't even working. Yeah. So, and then also on Sunday, like I said, I got things going on this weekend. On Sunday, I don't know if I can watch it because I got a wrestling tournament Saturday. Oh, no worries, Tyler, man. I appreciate you. You're always in here supporting through every single show. So it is what it is. I appreciate you letting me know. But if you get time to tune in or maybe just jump on for a second, hit that like button for me. It's the best way to support if you can't sit and watch for a long time or at all. If you jump in real quick and hit that like button, I'd appreciate that. So that's the best way to do it if you are not able to watch. But I appreciate you, man. Tyler, you're always here and interacting with me. So it's a good thing, man. I'm not going to hold it against you at all. Good luck on the tournament. I don't know if you're in the tournament wrestling yourself or coaching or what. I don't know what you got going on, but yeah, it sounds like you might be in the tournament. So yeah, good luck. Hopefully all goes well for you. But yeah, you are wrestling. Oh, okay, cool. Hell yeah. You know what? I don't even know. Let me ask you real quick. What wrestling? You got a wrestling tournament for what? Are we talking school? Are we talking outside of school? What? I don't even know how old you are. Honestly, we interact and talk all the time. I don't even know much about you. But high school. Oh, got you. Okay, well, shit. I appreciate you for sticking in with the unk over here, because I'm a hell of a lot older than you, and you hang in there and talk with me, and you got a lot of knowledge, man. So much props to you. I'll give you your flowers on that one. I appreciate you sticking around, hanging out with this old guy. But yeah, definitely good luck on the tournament. Don't even worry about fucking jumping on to do anything, because if it's a school function, then yeah, I know how that goes. But Anyway, infinity. Yeah, so we got a couple things going on. So Sunday, that's what I was saying. Sunday will be the recap for UFC Qatar. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. Like I said, we got a lot to talk about tonight. So I'm going to go ahead and shout out my sponsor and make sure I get a big whiff of the product itself. Noctane smelling salts, of course. This one's going to be rough, I think, because I about took myself out yesterday at work. I didn't even do it today. I got that second bottle and I put it in my bag that I take with me for work. I remembered it yesterday and I took a big whiff because I was like, you know what? I keep hesitating. So I took a big whiff. My fan didn't turn off. And I about took myself out. I was seeing stars. I was like, holy shit, what did I just do? My eyes were watering for like 10 minutes. It was crazy. Yeah, you're gonna need him, Infinity, for that, for what you're doing. He's doing a 24-hour stream, so that's definitely something that a lot of people are doing these days, kind of marathon streams and stuff. And I dig them, man. I love them. I watch IRL streaming and subathons, marathons, all that shit. I know it's not really meant for me, but I watch all that shit on Twitch a lot. So it was cool to hear that that's what you're doing. Like I said, I'll get more details and make sure you go to his page and watch that video he just put up there. Let's take a whiff of this. Oh, yeah. The new bottles. Holy shit. Oh, that wasn't as bad as yesterday, but damn, it's a fundraiser to make a long story short. Details to come. There you go, guys. So make sure you... almost took my breath away. Make sure you guys go sub to DJ Infinity's page and check that out so you can join in on giving him some views and you know, donating if you can. He said it'll have details to come, so we'll be waiting for that. But yeah. Oh, I was also moving the mic. That problem. No, it's more just the salt, I'm sure. I don't know why there's numbers besides my name. Yeah, I noticed that because it wasn't like that before, which is strange. I noticed that right away when Infinity jumped in. I don't know if maybe it's an update on my I don't know if it's an update on my my little pop-up thing for the chat. I don't know. Sometimes things glitch out. I had an update. That might have been it. I don't know. But we'll see. We'll see if that I don't know if that's going to stay or not. But I don't think it had the @ sign before either. So it's kind of strange. But we'll see. Yeah, I don't know. We'll see what happens. Maybe next time it won't be there, or it was an update, and maybe I'll go check the settings and see if that's why that's there. Anyway, thanks to Noctane for the nice boost of alertness and waking my ass up because I need it. There's a lot of good you have AZ now too? Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's what I was looking at. A lot of good uses for Noctane. Go check out their website. Link in the description below. There's a QR code on the front of the page, or on the screen right now. I'm losing myself. I'm just ready to get talking about all the stuff we got to talk about. So let me take a sip and we'll get to it. All right, let's get started. And to start us off, we have something some of you might not like, but it's news nonetheless. And we'll get started with the Jake Paul versus Anthony Joshua announcement. We heard a bunch of kind of rumors about this, and I wasn't sure if it was going to come to fruition, considering he was supposed to fight Gervonta Davis. And then, well, because Gervonta Davis is a fucking moron and can't keep his hands to himself when it comes to women, usually that's not a problem if that just means, you know, hey, you're getting women. And yeah, but he's putting hands on women in a different way, and we don't like that around here. So he's out because he can't stay out of trouble. But it is a professional bout, which is crazy. And this little tale of the facts, I think Jake Paul put it out himself on his Instagram. So it's kind of funny, but kind of, you know, some facts. You know, he's 28. Anthony Joshua's 36. They've got the height comparison, 6'1" to 6'6", 200 to 252 pounds. 76 inch to 82 inch. As you can see, all of the green means that Anthony Joshua has the upper hand on all of that, including, I mean, not including the age though, because he's older, but he's got the best of everything there. Better record, more pro fights. He was an Olympian, has a gold medal, world titles. And then it says delusional, and it says Jake Paul, yes. Anthony Joshua, no. And then it says they're very rich, both of them. Hilarious. But yeah, we'll see what happens here, because I mean, they are saying it's a professional bout, and Jake Paul seems to claim that 2,000 years old. Where does it say that? Did I miss that? But he oh, you mean he's not 2,000 years old either, like as in yeah, he's not fighting a super old guy. I got what you're saying. But Jake Paul seems to think Anthony Joshua has no chin. So I guess in a way we've seen that somewhat from Anthony Joshua, but I don't think that that's 100% true. And here's the thing, I give Jake Paul props, and I do all the time when he you know, fights people that matter. But the thing is we don't know what's going on in the background. We don't know about the, you know, whatever deals or anything like that. And I'm not gonna sit here and say that he's fixing the fights or anything like that either, because I think all of that is kind of stupid. But if it's happening, it's happening. And you know what, I wouldn't be surprised if it came out and that's what happened. But I'm not gonna sit here and dwell on that. It is what it is. We're getting these matches, we're watching them play out, and we get the back end you know, decision out of it. You know, whatever happens, we see it. So this will tell us if Jake is better than Ngannou. Yeah, kinda. I mean, yeah, because he is a smaller guy, he's the younger guy, and he's the one actually mixed up in boxing. So when it comes to boxing, he might be better than Ngannou. But I don't know, Joshua might play with his food and slip up, and Jake might get a shot in there. And if Joshua's chin is not good, like Jake claims, then you know what, he might have a chance. But I don't see that happening. If it's a competitive fight, shit, I give him all the props in the world, and I say, hey, good for you. You hung with an actual champ and actual you know, professional boxer with a lot of accolades. But if he gets worked, it is what it is, and that's kind of what we expect. So people won't even dwell on that much either. They'll just laugh at it for a little while and it'll be over with. So we'll see what we get out of this. But they are doing it on Friday, December 19th, live on Netflix. You don't got to pay shit if you already got Netflix. So easy enough. Let's hope that the stream doesn't fuck up like it did with the Mike Tyson fight. I don't know that this one will be as big as that one as far as viewership, but it's a pretty big deal nonetheless. So yeah, I'll be waiting. I'm gonna watch this one for sure. I don't have to pay shit for it. I don't have to search for it. I just got to turn on Netflix and fucking click on the right thing, and I got it. So there's no way in hell I'm gonna miss this. I'll be watching on my phone or on my TV, wherever I'm at, I'll watch it. So that's all Jake Paul needs, and that's what he's gonna get. I'm glad that the undercard of the other card that got, you know, left off with the Gervonta Davis fight. Hopefully all those fighters will be able to come over and still get their money and get a fight like they planned on for that Gervonta Davis fight. And that's the good part about all this. And if Jake Paul gets knocked out, then we all get to see what we've been wanting to see. That's why he knows they'll tune in, that people will tune in. So yeah, that's about how that goes. Let me damn it, I forgot to bring this up. Here we go. I wanted to make sure that I bring up the card. There it is. All right, so next up we got a little more boxing going on, and that is the Ring 4 happening on Saturday as well. And it's a, you know, Riyadh season fight card. David Benavidez versus Anthony Yarde. And then we got Abdullah Mason versus, hold on, I can't read that damn thing. Abdullah Mason versus Sam Noakes. Let's see, Devin Haney versus Brian Norman Jr. and Jesse Rodriguez versus Fernando Martinez. So you got a pretty good card there, man. If you know boxing, those are some big names. Those are some pretty good fights. And you have an undercard with 4 other fights as well going on Saturday. So, you know, you got some good boxing going on top of the fact that we got the news about Anthony Joshua versus Jake Paul. That's not happening till December anyway, but I did want to just mention this card because it does have some good fights there on the poster. Those are your top 4 fights on the main card, and then your prelims, you got 4 other fights. No one that I really know. I can't really break down this card too much because I just learned of it not that long ago. I don't follow boxing all that much, and I'm not going to get into things that I don't know about so much. But I respect I do respect the sport of boxing, and I do appreciate when they put out good cards, and I like to, catch the highlights. Watch the fight any way I can. I know it is a pay-per-view card on DAZN, so you do have to pay for it, but you get to see stuff here and there regardless. And I do appreciate that, and I am always interested to see what winds up happening with these big matchups like this. So should be a good card. Heard a lot of chatter about it coming from all the combat sports world and people that follow boxing a lot more than me. So I figured I'd throw a mention in there just because it is a big card, and I like to make sure I at least acknowledge it. So there's that. Let's move on to a little bit of drama in the combat sports world. We were talking about Francis Ngannou, so we're gonna have to bring him up real quick, because Dana White came out with a story about Francis Ngannou, and he claims that Francis is 100% not a good person, and the reasoning for that is because of how he conducts himself backstage, I guess you could say. And the biggest thing is Ngannou, he goes African John Jones. I don't think he's that bad, but he's that bad attitude wise. He's not that bad when it comes to criminal activity. But the story that Dana White told was that Francis Ngannou was in the hallway hanging out, and I said, come on in, what's going on? He was pissed off that he didn't get a $50,000 bonus in his last fight. I'm starting to leave, and he grabs me by my shirt and pushes me back in my office and said, dude, get your fucking hands off me. Hunter Campbell, which is Dana White's right-hand man, started to walk away. Francis grabbed him by the fucking back of his collar and fucking pulled him back and said, we're not done talking yet. So those are quotes coming straight from Dana White. He was on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz, and he told this story about all this. So you can go check that out if you want to hear more about what he had to say. But those are the highlights about the stuff that Francis Ngannou was doing. And then we see some tweets come out from someone named Ant Evans, who I've heard of before, especially from the Ariel Helwani show. And he works with the UFC. And he said, I haven't heard this story before. I believe it 100%. Francis was a terror at the UFC office when I worked there. He'd show up over and over, walk around the offices, standing over people's desks and making staff very uncomfortable. Now, some of it was he is a huge man from a different culture speaking English as a third language, and there is such a thing as being proactive. And there's also bullying. He struck me as a bully. It's 8 years or so, so some of the specifics are hazy, but one I witnessed myself was him standing over the one woman who designed UFC key art and wanting changes. Don't misunderstand, nothing like putting his hands on anyone, but he's a big scary dude, and he had no business standing over people's desks telling him what he wanted. Almost all fighters are their worst selves fight week. The pressure, the weight cut, etc. Francis was unreal obnoxious to people just doing their jobs. So yeah, it sounds like kind of a piece of shit, honestly, because I don't give a shit how big he is. I might have to punch him in the nuts if he's doing that to me. And yes, I will fight dirty if a motherfucker's that big. But what are these? What's a woman who's working at the UFC that does art? Like, what is she? I mean, what is she gonna do to Francis Ngannou, who's standing over her? I'm sure fucking getting hit in the face with body parts inadvertently. I don't know what I'm saying, man. I don't know what I'm saying, but He's a big dude, and if he's standing over your shoulder, I know I hate people standing over my shoulder in general. I have a new guy at work right now, and he's learning, and he's very eager to learn. So listen, and I appreciate that. Thank God I was not having a drink. Oh man,
bruh.
But so I got this new guy at work, and I'm technically training him, right? Because he's shadowing me, because my other guys are doing something else he can't be a part of. So he's standing over my shoulder because he's eager to learn and wants to see things. But I'm like, bro, there's not a lot of lighting in here. The only light is coming from over me, and you're over your shadow. You're blocking all the light. Your shadow's blocking all the light. I can't see shit, and I'm looking at little tiny wires, very tiny writing, intricate shit, and I'm also troubleshooting something. So yeah, people standing over my shoulder is tough. I have to like really get myself together and remember that he's trying to learn. But
Hey, no Diddy, man, no Diddy.
No, I'm not an electrician. I mean, I do basically security cameras and access control, so I have to wire up panels, and I do fiber optics. I do terminate fiber optics and stuff like that. So a lot of my work has to do with a lot of small wiring and stuff like that. So yeah, and I'm looking inside of a drawer with like boards that have tons of wiring and very small writing, because these boards are only so big. And yeah, it's tough. So but yeah, somebody over your shoulder is annoying enough, but when you have a gigantic dude that's pretty intimidating and scary, that's even more of a nuisance. So and scary for a woman who's like, damn, this big dude's over here telling me to fiber is now my fave. Oh yeah. Fiber at your house for internet, for sure. Yeah, fiber is a great thing. You can carry a lot of information on it, and it's fast, so that's good. But yeah, so Ngannou's a menace, and now we know why he had the bad reputation. And we heard Dana talk about it from the get-go, when he said as soon as he started doing well and there was a lot of hype around him, he let it all go to his head, and we saw kind of proof of that. I was kind of wondering if Dana was just being an asshole because Francis wasn't adhering to everything he wanted, like Dana does. You know, if he doesn't like what you're doing and you're not doing what he wants you to do, then you know, he gets a little pissed off and he starts talking shit. So now I know why, though. Now I know why he was talking shit, because if all this is true and Francis is doing it, and that's why I added in the second one from Ant Evans, because he worked for the UFC, he saw things with his own eyes, and that's a bit of a backup story for Dana. I don't think Ant Evans works for the UFC anymore, so there's no reason for him to just lie to back Dana up. Turns out Dana was right. He's a dickhead. Exactly, Tyler. So it's unfortunate, man. It's unfortunate, but we've seen what he's doing to the PFL too. He's fucking stiffing them when he's supposed to be running the PFL Africa division. He was supposed to be the ambassador and all this shit, and hasn't shown his face at any of their events yet there, because something happened that he didn't like. So we see that he's a bit of a prima donna, I guess you could say. But it sucks to hear that, man. And it'd be nice to see him get in there and fight again, because that's what he does best. Did you see Rico? I was about to say that. Was let Glory and vacated his title? I sure did. And I don't know. There's things going around about possibilities of them trying to set up a fight with Francis or some shit. I don't know. I saw that in a couple places, so who knows? But yeah, Verhoeven leaving Glory, vacating his title and stuff. Who knows what he'll do? But we'll be keeping an eye on that, because that's big news. And yeah, when Francis hasn't fought in forever, so you know, there's a lot of people want to see him fight, and he's got a lot to prove still, I think. I don't know that we'll ever see him in the UFC if Dana's still out there talking shit, but if we ever got that Francis versus John Jones fight, that would be pretty sick, I think. So a little more drama in the combat sports world, and I gotta talk about this because it has to do with what I do here, which is a podcast. Busy driving around hitting, oh shit. Damn, Tyler. Oh shit, that's funny though. That is funny. We'll give Ngannou the old
Get your fucking shit together, my God.
there you go. Anyway, I had to talk about this one because it's been a big thing over the past like day and a half or so, which is, you know, Demetrius Johnson, Mighty Mouse, has his own podcast. He's been doing it for a while. He's been doing reacts to all the fights and putting out all kinds of content and stuff like that. But yeah, he linked up with MMA Guru. So if you don't know who MMA Guru is, you should, because he's all over the place. I'm surprised you probably seen something of him, just didn't know it was him, but he's all over the place. And he's known for crazy reactions to fights. He screams all the time, jumps up and down, he does all kinds of crazy shit, and he talks a lot of shit. He has a big depth of knowledge when it comes to MMA, and he's very passionate and good at what he does. But part of what he does is talk a lot of shit, and I'm talking controversial shit like calling Dagestanis inbreds. He points out people that might be gay even though they're not. He calls them that. He claims that they are for sure. He puts out a lot of stuff. Some base takes, you could say, yeah, for sure. For sure, that's a good way to put it. So Guru is just controversial in general. He's lost multiple sponsorships and stuff like that for things that he says because he doesn't want to censor himself. He says that he'll say what he feels. That's part of his content. That's how he's grown, and he's never going to change. And that's why after a few shows only that the Mighty Guru show had, which was Mighty Mouse and MMA Guru, which were good, by the way. I listened to all of them. I didn't watch them because I listen to podcasts because of work. I have an earbud in all day. I'm listening to nothing but podcasts. But I've seen clips and stuff, and either way, it doesn't matter. It's what's being said is some of the problem. But their show was good. I enjoyed it quite a bit. I never really paid attention to Guru except for a little bit of time before he linked up with Demetrius, because I saw some of his takes on some things and I was just like, it's not really my thing. And some of it's funny, so you know, I'll watch it as it comes across, but some of it's kind of annoying. He was on the UFC 300 countdown and the UFC wanted to collab with him until he made his video about John Jones being a rainbow man. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, that's one of the things he did lose. He was on the he's on the trailer for the UFC 300. He was supposed to be on the countdown, a lot of stuff, and he talked about all of it in a live that I actually watched last night when all this got put out there. So he said, I was fine with you pussies on here acting like I was a murderer because I called someone inbred and told some guy spamming in the live chat to cry at a border, but now you're targeting DJ. I'll drop the news early. The Mighty Guru show is over. DJ stood his base, video dropping soon, and then he went live and talked about it. So the biggest thing here is, and the whole thing about the border stuff is, yeah, it's just political shit, and you know, he takes every outlandish stance you can think of and runs with it as far as he can, and it's helped him grow. I mean, he says it's not just content, it's the way he is, but a lot of it, man, he got so many donos in that love. Yeah, he did, and he talked shit about Cheeto Vera's daughter, who is like has you know, I don't know if it's what kind of issue she has, whether it's health issues or whatever, but he talked shit about her somewhat. He was kind of more just joking, making jokes about what things that people were saying, but people were mad because he's profiting off of it, because people were making donations, like Tyler said, and with their comments so that they could be read, because he'll read the comments that donos come in on. And I understand that, because people are paying to get those things read, so you can't just keep the money and be just kind of be that guy who just keeps the money, doesn't even do what he says he's gonna do when you donate. So yeah, it's just it becomes problematic when you're linked up and collabing with somebody that has a lot of sponsors. I guess Demetrius Johnson wasn't fully aware of how in depth he gets with all of this controversial shit, and you know, DJ told him to chill out a little bit because he didn't like some of the stuff that he was saying, and on top of that, he trains with a lot of Dagestanis in Khabib's camp. And with that being said, DJ's like, listen, man, I'm out there training with them, and then I come in here and do a show with you, and that seems like a conflict of interest, right? So he just kind of told him, hey, we need to scale it back a bit, and you know, Guru said, cool, I'll scale it down to a 7, and he's like, how about we make it a 2? And that's when Guru said, listen, I don't know that I can do that. There's no way in hell I'm gonna continue on this path for a long time without going off on some shit, especially when he's doing live reactions, because he does fight companions and shit, and in all of his videos he goes ham. He makes shit up all the time too, and he's not, you know, he puts it out there like it's real, but it's satire, and I get that. Kind of like when he was talking about this past press conference for UFC 322, he talks about how you know, this whole thing with Islam wanting to kill Morales because he comes out looking like a lady boy and all this other stuff. He goes crazy on things, and he says things, and those are his views, and I get that. He does it for content, and he finds it funny. That's him, that's his personality, and I get it, not wanting to change or sell out. But at the same time, man, it's like you got a good thing going with Demetrius Johnson, one of the greatest fighters of all time, and yet, you know, you fuck it up because you're a bit selfish and you don't want to give in a little bit. You know, I understand. At least he gets that he can't help himself. So Tyler said, I remember his Bryce Mitchell stream, some crazy things were said during that live stream. 100%. It's definitely not necessary, but that's his humor. That's the kind of person he is, and it is what it is. If you don't like it, don't watch. But he's got plenty of viewers, and he's got plenty of he's made plenty of money off of it, and he has traction. So it is what it is. There's a fan base for everything out there, whether you like it or not. And some people are gonna make a big deal about these things than others. I don't particularly understand why he thinks it's so funny to talk about some of this shit, but some of it is funny. We all make jokes about things, but some jokes go a bit far. He's going fishing with Bryce at some point. Yeah, he kept saying that. We'll see if that happens, because that'll be interesting for sure, especially knowing how Bryce Mitchell is. But I could just see the tangent now as they're fishing. Just talking about it gets his name in people's ear for sure. And you know, this is why I'm talking about this too, is because on one hand, I understand a little bit of where he's coming from, not wanting to just sell out and be like, listen, for money, I'll do whatever you want. He doesn't want to do that, but he also doesn't, maybe he does understand and just doesn't care, but he doesn't seem to understand or care about other people's feelings in general. I get it. He calling everybody pussies, telling everybody that they're so weak, and all this shit. But it's like, bro, like, what hurts your feelings? Does anything hurt your feelings? I'm pretty sure they do. You just don't show it because you know how to hide it, and you're not going to show the public about something that hurts your feelings. And I get it. That's the way you want to handle it. That's fine. But no matter what, you have feelings that get hurt at some point in time, and other people do. It's just other people express themselves in ways that, you know, they're outspoken about it. But there's that minority, that loud minority out there that gets way out of hand. The cancel culture bullshit, you know, the real pussy shit that's out there because you said one word that people don't like. And I'm like, I say a lot of words people don't like, and when I say people, I mean shit, even my daughters here at home. I've had arguments with them because of a word that I said, and I'm like, get the fuck over it, all right? Because I'm in my own home, and I'm gonna say what the fuck I want in my own home. You don't like it? Go find another place to live. I don't know what to tell you. You're not gonna tell me what I can and can't say at my house. If I can't say it out anywhere else, and I'm not talking about really bad things, I'm talking about shit that people say all the time in passing. But they're at that age right now where you know, they fall on one side or the other, and it's definitely not the side that it is what it is. I don't even talk about this shit because it's a whole thing. You know, all of these big events that happen, you know, I gotta find my place in them, and a lot of times my place is just zip it up, because I don't want to fight with anybody. I've lost friends over things that I didn't want to be a part of, but I got forced into it. Things got said to people I didn't want said to people, and I cut people off because I'm not gonna fucking play that game, because it goes beyond words sometimes, and that's not good. That's not good ever. And I'm not young anymore. I can't be doing that kind of shit. So, but I don't play, and when it comes to certain things, and those things happen sometimes. So gotta cut people off, man. That's just the way it goes. And that's what DJ did. He stood his ground. And he said he can't have this shit, and Guru said that's fine, man, it's fine, I'll move on. So it is what it is. It sucks because it was a good show, and I somewhat enjoyed it, you know, on a monthly basis, because they only did it once a month after any pay-per-view was the only time they were doing it anyway. So yeah, it's over. It is what it is. I'll still watch Guru every now and again when stuff pops up. I'll see what he's talking about. If I don't like it, I click away. I click off of it. I just like, moving on. Usually I see it on TikTok or something, or YouTube Shorts, and I'm just like, scroll up. You know why? Because it's that fucking easy. You don't like what I'm saying? Peace. See you later. You don't like my content? That's okay. You don't have to tell me I'm a fucking idiot and a piece of shit. You can just scroll on by, because I'm gonna keep doing this whether you like it or not. So yeah, just keep moving. Go find something you do like and pay attention to that. Put your effort into the things that you like, and support the people that you want to support and agree with and enjoy, and that's going to help those people more than it's going to hurt the people that you're trying to hurt by talking shit about them online. Just shut the fuck up. Just shut up and fucking do what you want to do, what you enjoy. Because if what you enjoy is talking shit to people online and coming in here and trolling fucking people and going online and spreading rumors and talking shit, if that's what you enjoy, sad existence. Sad fucking existence. So find some true happiness and find something to point that energy towards that could maybe make you some money in another way than just blasting out people's shit because that's what you think is gonna make you money. Get the fuck out of here. So that's my take on that. I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry. Yeah, Tyler. Big E got based real quick. Yeah, it's just one of these things, man. It's just one of these things that I fucking hate. And you know, again, it's as easy as scrolling on by. Listen, you don't want to see my ugly ass face on your screen? Keep it moving, motherfucker. Plain and simple. That's it. Let's move on to UFC Qatar, because that's what I want to talk about. UFC Fight Night in Qatar, happening Saturday. We got an early card. Don't forget, here's your second reminder of the show. We got Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker for your main event in a lightweight bout. Somewhat of a, I wouldn't say title eliminator, but there's definitely some title implications in this one, because Dan Hooker feels like, what up, Johnny? Ian going to KO Bilal. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I'm not gonna lie. But Arman Tsarukyan was supposed to have gotten a title shot at this point, but he got hurt, his little back injury and all that shit, and he's been away for a while. But I just got a text message and I got sidetracked. But Arman probably should have had a title shot already, and now he's looking to cement that shot with this win over Dan Hooker. I don't know that when beating Dan Hooker specifically is the way to get that shot, but apparently that's what the UFC wanted with this matchup, I guess, and it works. So, and I think it's going to be a damn good fight. Arman going to submit Hooker. Yeah, we'll see, because that's definitely a possibility. But if Dan Hooker can be as strong and tough as he usually is, and scramble like he has in the past and not get held down, maybe he has a good chance of catching Arman at some point in time. I'm not counting too much on that, to be honest with you. So I'm thinking it's going to be a lot more of ground game in the favoring Arman Tsarukyan on that one. And for your co-main event, you got Bilal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. So with this one, Bilal, he's getting older. He looked like shit. Well, he didn't look like shit, but he dropped the title to Jack Della. Now that didn't age well for Jack, considering he just dropped the title right away, just like Bilal did. But regardless, he had a good performance against Bilal. Bilal got some good shots in on Jack. He busted open his face. He, Usman a punk for not fighting Bilal. Yeah. Yeah, Usman's a whole different story too, because they're talking about possibly giving Usman the next title shot. I'm like, what the fuck? No, absolutely not. I mean, I could understand where maybe they think that Usman has a leg to stand on, but all he did was beat Joaquin Buckley. So maybe if he was fighting Bilal and beat Bilal, who's the former champ, then yeah, that probably should have that probably would have gotten him that title shot. But with only fighting Buckley and not even having another fight set up yet, it's like, what are we doing here? 1-3 in his last 4 fights, by the way. Yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying. And then to just beat Buckley because he was on a bit of a run, it's like, no man, Buckley wasn't even number 1 yet. So a fighter ranked number 8 shouldn't get a title shot. Not in this way, absolutely not. If the current champ has already run through everybody, sure, I can see number 8 getting, or late notice and replacement. Sure, I can see the number 8 fighter getting a title shot, but not like this when there's this many guys, this many guys like in waiting and able to fight. And yeah, there's just other fights that can happen. That's why, everyone talking about Topuria going up to 170. It's like, bro, he just got to 155. He hasn't even fought anybody. He hasn't even fought anybody else there. What the fuck do we mean going up to 170? There's no double champs. That means he would have to vacate right away. And mark my words, Islam liked 170 too much. He's not coming back down to 155. He said he felt great at 170. Why would he go back down? I don't see that happening either. But you never know. You never know, because the UFC does what the UFC does. So I could definitely be 100% wrong. I heard some good arguments as to why, not Bilal, but Islam and why Islam and Topuria could happen and why it should happen and all this other shit. And I don't doubt the fact that it should happen. That would be a great fight. But yeah, 0 chance Islam moves back down, 100%. And I don't see Topuria moving up yet. Not yet. He's got to solidify his spot as that lightweight champion. Ilya, welterweight, wants to be like David when he fought Goliath. Yeah, and yeah, maybe that's what he wants to do. I don't know that the UFC is going to let him do that, but I don't think he should do that either. And I don't think everybody should be clamoring for that yet. Let's fucking let them both, like, defend that goddamn title at least once. What are we doing? Why do we want everybody to move up right away? And then everybody gets mad at the changing of hands of titles. It's like, well, yeah, if you can't be double champ, you got to vacate, which means another new champion. Nobody's the long reigning champion because you want them to move up every fucking time. So, and then you bitch about the change of hands of the titles and there's no fucking stars, and nobody's gonna be a star if they just keep moving up fucking weight classes and losing and then try to come back down. Come on, man. Let's stop doing this shit for a little bit. Fucking win some fights in the goddamn division and then we'll see what happens, right? Clean out your division and then move the fuck up because you don't have another choice right now, right? I don't know. I'm beyond tired of all the champions moving up. Yeah, man, let's get some fucking fights going and let's get some title reigns going. What the fuck happened to the long-standing title holder that just ushers in the new guys and takes them the fuck out? And then everyone's battling for number 1 to get back to that title shot and get revenge. I mean, that's interesting too. Yeah, sure. A lot of times you see, we've seen that fight. Fucking, we know how that goes. Well, not always. Not always. Sometimes a guy can work real hard, come back and do something different. And that should be the inspiration to do it, is when you lose that title shot. Renato Moicano comes in on short notice, loses the title shot. That motherfucker better be real hungry to get back there and get a fucking another shot and do something with it. So I hope that's what he's doing. People seem to forget how things work. Yeah, I only gave big respect to Pantoja and Merab. You mean for just for defending their titles? Is that what you're saying? Because yeah, Merab's been defending. Pantoja, I didn't even like Pantoja in the beginning, but it's hard for me to fucking say that I don't respect what he does anymore, considering he's defended a few times and he's looked good and been winning. So yeah, Pantoja and Merab definitely have the credit right now, and everyone else is just too busy jumping around and shit. So I'd like to see somebody get in there and really hold their time in there for a bit, for defending their titles and not moving up. Yeah, exactly, Johnny, for sure. I 100% agree. All right, so let's move on and check out the at least Islam earned the right to move up. I don't know that he really did. I think he moved up too fast too. He basically, I mean, 2 out of his what 3 or 4 defenses. I think how many times did he defend? I don't even remember now. Anyway, 2 of those times were against a guy coming up from 145, and I know that that's what everybody argues and shit, but Islam has the skills and he's really tearing people apart, and I get it why they would let him come up, and it seems like he might be better at 170, and that might be the best reason for moving up, is because that's probably where you belong, and a lot of guys won't do that. They'll just keep being weight bullies and 4 defenses. Okay, so yeah, half of those were against fucking a guy that came up from 145 and only fought there to try to get that title. So it's like, what the fuck are we talking about? Now that was Volkanovski, of course, and that's a hell of a fight, and for him to win, especially with the hard time Volk gave him in that first fight, and then come back and do what he did to him in the second fight, you know, yeah, you can give him a lot of props for that, and I understand, but also, you know, then he fights Ngannou on short notice, and that's his 3rd, in your opinion, better GOAT criteria, double champion or long reigning champion. I think a combination of both. Have a decent reign at champion, go up and get double champ status, and you're the real fucking GOAT. Volk was a harder fight than any lightweight. True, that is true, but what I'm saying is, when you look at the fact that he fought a guy coming up from 145 both times, whether he was tougher than most of those lightweights or not, you know, it's not like hey, you stuck around and fought the best of the best in your division. It's like, hey, you stuck around shortly to fight a few guys that are kind of smaller than you, and one on short notice, and one that doesn't even fight in his weight class unless he's fighting you. So it's just kind of weird to me, man. But here's the thing. By the way, I will go back on what I said, because I'm one to say, hey, listen, I was wrong. The GOAT conversation between Islam, with Islam or Khabib being the GOAT, I was saying, hey, listen, Khabib retired undefeated. He defended his title multiple times. He fought good guys, and whatever else the fuck I was saying, you know, all of that to me was me saying that, because I'm such a big Khabib fan, and I got a little jaded by that, I guess. But I will say that Islam, being who he is, winning the fights that he won against the opponents that he fought, the fact that he won a title and defended it so many times, regardless of what I was just saying, I'm just talking on paper and numbers, and the fact that he's a double champ now, even though he's not a double simultaneously double champ, but he's still a double division champion. With all that being said, I think he does kind of slightly edge out Khabib, and I hate to admit that, but I heard a lot of arguments back and forth on both sides, and the more I think about it, the more I gotta sit back and just eat my words and say I think he has slightly edged Khabib now, because he's also still going. If he fights for too long, then yeah. Who's GOAT, Nunes or Valentina? That's tough, man. I want to say Nunes, because for one of the sole reasons that she beat one of the most feared fighters in MMA throughout many of years, which was Chris Cyborg. And regardless of the time frame that she got to fight her in, she still wrecked her. And on top of that, you know, she beat the shit out of Ronda, even though it was after she already had her downfall. But you know, she beat Valentina twice, even though Valentina gave her a great fight. And I mean, but Valentina's defended so many fucking times. That's the hard thing. And while she was super dominant in the beginning, Cyborg post PEDs, probably. But either way, they're pretty close, man. They're pretty close. I think at the moment Nunes might have a slight edge, but I don't know, man. I could be just as wrong as I was about the Khabib one. And this is the reason why I overanalyze things, and then I don't even want to answer, because I'm just like, I can see things on both sides, both ways, and my brain's fighting itself, and that's where I get stuck. So Tyler says clears Khabib in my opinion. Yeah, no worries. Yeah, I fully understand why you would say that. So it is what it is. I was a huge Khabib fan, and I always will be. And yeah, you know, someone's always gonna surpass your GOAT. So maybe he wasn't my specific GOAT, but he's definitely one of my all-time favorites. All right, let's check out these prelims now that I'm just done ranting about shit. Prelims. Not the most stacked card in the prelims, but we got some pretty decent fights going on down here. And that starts off with, let me see if I can actually read some of these names. Mark Bujlo. I'm not sure exactly how to say that. He's 6-0, making his UFC debut versus Denzel Freeman, who is 6-1, also making his UFC debut. So I couldn't find a picture for Bujlo. Maybe that's how you say it, Bujlo. So that's why you got the shadow guy. But yeah, that's your first fight of the night at heavyweight. Undefeated versus 6-1. Not bad. He looks like an avatar. Yeah. Yeah, that's your first fight of the night. So maybe we'll see some fireworks. Maybe that one will end quickly. With those two guys making their UFC debut, wanting to, you know, put on a show for their first fights in the UFC. First prelim of the night in the heavyweight division. Bujlo versus Freeman. Did you hear Bilal say about him training with young guys? It's like, bro, yeah, Jamal Witherspoon. Dude, if you're not on my TikTok, go check out my TikTok, because I made a TikTok about that, because that shit was funny. It's like Epstein files without the sex. Getting their powers through sparring and training. Yeah, I was like, bruh, what the fuck are we talking about? Holy shit, man. Bilal, and my caption for my TikTok was, who the fuck let this guy on the mic? It's about time to forget his name, because Bilal doesn't know what the fuck he's talking about. And the funny part about that is that oh, Infinity, I heard that play in my head as I saw it pop up on the screen. The funny thing about that I said it's time to forget his name is because his nickname is, you know, remember the name. So easy joke made. I would favor Islam over Morales and Prates 2-1 odds. Yeah, I understand that. I think Prates gives him a maybe not. I mean, we saw Leon kind of you know, kind of get the better of him in that first round with some of that wrestling and grappling. But, you know, Prates was kind of just taking it easy, like, this is nothing, I'm gonna get to it. Morales, I think Morales would definitely go down easy to that grappling and wrestling, because Morales throws some very sloppy striking. He's not very technical with it, a lot of winging punches, because he wants that power. And while I understand that, we kind of saw it coming from Malcolm Wellmaker, it doesn't work all the time, man. So you got to get more skills behind that. But we haven't seen much from Morales besides that. It's a coin flip for me between Islam versus a healthy Shavkat. Yeah, that's a great point. And we're definitely waiting for Shavkat to get back in here and be healthy. So yeah, I mean, that's that. Let's move on to the next fight of the night. I mean, the next fight of the prelims is at 155. We got Nurullo Aliyev versus Shaquem Rock. Aliyev is Aliyev is 10-0 overall, 2-0 in the UFC. Rock is making his UFC debut. Aliyev is 2-0 with wins over Rafael Alves by majority decision and Joe Solecki by unanimous decision. Those are his last two fights. He came out of the Contender Series where he won in the first round by TKO. So he's coming in trying to make it 3-0 against Shaquem Rock, who is making his UFC debut. He was 4-0 in Octagon, so he's on a 4-fight win streak right now. Looks like most of his wins come by submission, except for his last one was by decision. So we'll see how this fight plays out for your second fight of the night on the prelims. Next up, we have Ismail Nordiev versus Ryan Loder, happening in the middleweight division. Nordiev is 24-8 overall, 3-3 in the UFC. Loder is 7-2 overall, 1-1 in the UFC. Let's look at Nordiev, and he's coming off a loss to Jun Young Park, the Iron Turtle, by unanimous decision. Before that, he had 2 wins in a row. or I'm sorry, he had one win in the UFC over Bruno Silva, and he fought in Brave CF before that. So Ryan Loder is 1-1 in the UFC, coming off a loss as well against Azamat Bakoyev. Before that, he had the win over Robert Valentine in the I think the Ultimate Fighter finale. So he's looking to get back in that win column, as well as Nordiev. That's your third fight of the night in the middleweight division. Next up, we have Bezkat Almakhan versus Alexandre Topuria, which is Ilya Topuria's brother, and he is 6-1 overall, 1-0 in the UFC. Almakhan is 1-1 in the UFC. I believe one of his fights was pretty fucking good, if I remember correctly. Let me take a look at his record. Brad Katona, he won. Oh yeah, that was that first round finish, 1 minute and 4 seconds in, uppercut to ground punches. Is how he finished Brad Katona back in May of 2025. Before that, he lost to Umar Nurmagomedov, which is a tough, fast fight. So, you know, he lost by unanimous decision. He went all 3 rounds with him, but he came back and got that big win against Katona. So he's looking to face Ilya Topuria's brother, Alexandre Topuria, and he is 1-0 in the UFC with a win over Colby Thickness, which I saw a little bit of a breakdown of a video earlier about the similarities between the Topuria brothers. And you know, Colby Thickness took advantage of some of the things that Topuria does in his fights with his head movement and the way he leans while, you know, slipping a shot and stuff like that. It was a pretty good breakdown, and you know, I noticed that it looks like Ilya doesn't make those same mistakes, while they still have the same kind of head movement and the way that they move, and footwork and head movement in their fights are pretty similar. But it seems like Alexandre makes small mistakes that can cost him the fight because he leaves himself open for things. So that might be something Bezkat can take advantage of. But as for now, Topuria is undefeated in the UFC, coming in at 1-0. He only has 1 loss on his record in total. Almakhan only has 2, so this should be a pretty good battle in the bantamweight division for the men. And then we get to another tough name, Abdul Rahman versus that's only his first name. Abdul Rahman Yakayev versus Rafael Karkaria. Yakayev is coming in undefeated, 7-0, making his UFC debut. Karkaria is 0-3 in the UFC. So talk about a favorable matchup here. We got an undefeated guy making his UFC debut against a guy who's 0-3, which is crazy. He was a champion in Aries FC, had some, you know, performance of the night bonuses over there. He defended his title once. He's coming in on a TKO first round finish in 30 seconds of the Contender Series. So he's looking to make a splash in the UFC against Rafael Karkaria, who's 0-3 in the UFC, with losses to Ivo Aslan, Modestas Bukauskas, and Julius Walker. 2 TKO losses in the first round for those first 2 fights, and then he lost to Julius Walker by unanimous decision. So Yakayev can come in and make a name for himself by getting a big first round finish here, because Karkaria is you are able to get that kind of a finish over him as far as looking back at his previous fights. So maybe he takes advantage of that and comes in and extends his 7-0 record to 8-0 while getting his first UFC win in his debut. Or else Karkaria might get his first UFC win after 3 losses in a row, or he's gonna get cut. That's pretty much what will probably happen there. Next up, we get to a pretty damn good fight between Alex Perez versus Asu Almabayev. I figure we're gonna get some good action in this one. We got the flyweight guys that are non-stop, constant action. You know, for small guys, they might not hit the hardest. You might not get huge, crazy KOs, but you're gonna get a lot of action going on. A lot of these guys will throw punches back and forth non-stop. They don't get tired very easily, and they move a lot. So Alex Perez coming in at 7-5 in the UFC, 25-9 overall. Almabayev is 22-3 overall and 5-1 in the UFC. First up, we got Perez, who is coming off a loss to Tatsuro Taira, which is a very tough opponent. That was a knee injury from a takedown. So, I mean, he didn't necessarily lose because he did something and made a mistake. It's because he got taken down and suffered a knee injury. Before that, he had a win over Mateusz Nicolau, which he got a performance of the night bonus on. And that was a TKO win in the second round. His other loss in the UFC is to Muhammad Mukayev, yet another very tough opponent. So he hasn't had the easiest of opponents. He's also fought and lost to Davison Figueiredo and Alexandre Pantoja, which is insane. So he's had a tough fight schedule. Shavkat is overrated as fuck. Oh shit. Why do you say that, Tyler? Is that just because we saw him kind of, you know, have some trouble with Jeff Neal before he absolutely fucking big brothered him? Or do you see something else? I'm curious. Anyway, we got Almabayev, who's definitely fun to watch fight. He's 5-1 in the UFC. His only loss is to Manel Kape, who can be good when he wants to be, when he's focused. But Almabayev's coming off a win over Jose Ochoa by unanimous decision back in July. Before that, he beat Mateusz Nicolau, Jose Johnson, CJ Vergara, and Ode Osborne in his UFC debut, where he got a performance of the night bonus with a submission in the second round. So Almabayev is a fun guy to watch fight, even if he goes the distance. This should be a good one. I'm leaning a little on the Almabayev side on this one. But next up, we got Nicholas Dalby versus Saeed. Maybe it is Saeed. Saeed is Gakmaev, I think. I mean, people act like he's destroying the entire top 5 when he's beat Wonder Boy, Jeff Neal, and short notice Ian. Tyler's not an Ian Gary fan, apparently. But yeah, I understand where you're coming from, because we make that same argument for other people. I fully understand where you're coming from with that. But you gotta admit, when somebody comes in and is exciting to watch fight and faces some adversity, but still hangs in there and gets a great finish for the win, you know, that's entertaining shit, and that makes people like you. But I get it from the other side as well. I'm not saying he's bad, he's just overrated. I get it completely. And I can understand where you're coming from with that, and you might not be wrong. But you know, unfortunately, he had the injuries and all the other shit that's happening with him, so we haven't been able to see him in a while. We'll see. Hey, that Ian Gary fight was shit. Yeah, but he beat him to give him his first loss. Morales never been to the championship round. His gas tank would be cooked and lactic acid in those arms. I agree, Johnny. I feel like Morales is one of those guys that can't be taken into deep water. He needs to finish early, otherwise no stamina. But you never know. We haven't seen him get there yet, so that's just what it looks like. It appears to be that way, but we could be surprised. And if he has a good gas tank, he could be dangerous in those later rounds too. But with the way he throws, I highly doubt that's the case. So you might be 100% right. Next up, though, we got welterweight division, Nicholas Dalby versus Gakmaev, I think. What kind of name? Yeah, I don't know, Tyler. That one's tough, man. He's 22-2 overall, making his UFC debut as well. We are in Qatar for this fight, so you know that might be why we're getting a lot of debut fighters with crazy names. It makes sense. Nicholas Dalby 7-5 in the UFC, 23-6 overall. Let's see. Dalby is coming off of 2 losses in a row to Hinat Fakhretdinov and Randy Brown. Randy Brown, he lost by TKO, but it was a fight of the night, so he did get a bonus. He lost by a split decision to Hinat Fakhretdinov as well. Are you interested in Colby versus Burns or Colby versus Wonderboy? I'm interested in Colby going to go fuck himself. But I guess in the fight game, I would probably want to see him fight Burns. I think Burns would be a good one. Either way, it's not a great fight. Wonderboy hasn't looked that good lately. You know what though? Wonderboy didn't do too bad. maybe Wonder Boy. I think Wonder Boy might be a good one, but I think Colby would probably just find a way to get at him and take him down and just hump his leg as usual. And then with Burns, it might be with Burns, it might be a little better just because Burns can wrestle a little better than Wonder Boy, I think. But who knows? Because Burns hasn't looked that great recently either. I want Colby versus the PFL welterweight champ. Yeah, that could be interesting. Anyway, so we got where were we at? Dalby versus, yeah, that's your middleweight fight, and then we get to the featured prelim. Then we'll move into the main card. We got Bogdan Grad versus Luke Riley. Luke Riley making his UFC debut as well in the 145 division against Bogdan Grad, who's 1-1. Grad is coming off of a loss to Muhammad Naimov by unanimous decision, but his first fight in the UFC was a TKO win in the second round where he got a performance of the night bonus over Lucas Alexander, and he's coming in from the Contender Series as well. He got a split decision win over Michael Aswell over there. And you got Luke Riley coming in from Cage Warriors. He's on a pretty damn good win streak. He's undefeated, yeah, 11-0. So that should be a fun one as well to move us into the main card, and let's get to that now. And we'll start off with Tagir Ulanbekov versus the return of Kyoji Horiguchi. If you haven't been following MMA for a while, or haven't been a UFC fan for a while, and you just started watching not too long ago, then oh yeah, according to MMA Guru, Riley is really good. I totally forgot to mention, yeah, Riley, I guess, is coming out of Paddy Pimblett's camp. So Paddy Pimblett's real high on this guy. So he's got some pressure to do well because he's got a lot of people vouching for him. So we'll see how he does coming in against Bogdan Grad, which, I mean, he's 1-1, so who knows? He's a decent fighter though, so I mean, it could be a fun fight to lead us into the main card. And you know, those featured prelims a lot of times can kind of set the stage for the main card and how that might go for the night. But in the main card, we got Kyoji Horiguchi returning to the UFC. Hasn't been here for quite a while. He's 7-1 in the UFC, even though he hasn't been in the UFC for a bit, against Tagir Ulanbekov, who's 6-1 in the UFC. But look at how many fights Kyoji Horiguchi has total: 34-5 in MMA. He was fighting over in Ryzen. He wanted to go to where one of his family members, I think he said his mom, could watch him fight. So going to Ryzen was like the best way for him to do that, because she lives in Japan, and well, that was the easiest way to get her there to a fight. So he was able to do that, but he was there for a while. He fought in Bellator as well. He was the champ in Ryzen, and he defended once, but he's on a 5-fight win streak. He beat Sergio Pettis. As far as people that you might know, he lost to Patchy Mix over in Bellator, lost to Sergio Pettis in Bellator as well. I think the Sergio Pettis fight that he beat him in was when they did Ryzen versus no, that wasn't it. I guess Sergio Pettis just went to Ryzen. I didn't even know that. He beat Kai Asakura. Remember when Kai Asakura came over to the UFC from Ryzen? Yeah, Kyoji Horiguchi beat him in Ryzen for the title, actually. Losing to Patchy Mix is a bad look now. Yeah, that didn't age. That doesn't say much now. He also lost to Tenshin Nasukawa, who's the guy who fought fucking Floyd Mayweather, which is weird. But yeah, he's got a lot of random fights. He fought Manel Kopp over in Ryzen as well. Ian McCall, a lot of people. Ali Bagutinov, he fought in the UFC. He was on a 3-fight win streak when he left the UFC, which is crazy. That's how you know he didn't get kicked out or anything like that. He didn't get cut. He just kind of moved on. But that should be a fun fight for the first fight of the night on the main card. Ulanbekov is coming off of a 2-fight win streak. Clayton Carpenter and Azat Maksum, both unanimous decision wins. I'm sorry, 4 fight win streak. Yeah, there's a grappling one in there that he lost. So he also beat Cody Durden and Nate Menace. So his last loss was to Tim Elliott back in 2022. So yeah, this could be a really good fight. I'm pulling for Horiguchi just out of pure like back in the day OG type shit. Because it'd be cool to see him come back to the UFC and, you know, do well. But Ulanbekov's a tough opponent, so especially on a 4-fight win streak, he's looking to extend that and you know, spoil Horiguchi's homecoming. But we'll see how that goes for the first fight of the night in the main card. Next up, we have a short notice replacement with Waldo Cortez Acosta, which is kind of crazy because he just fought not that long ago, and he's going up against Shamil Gaziev or Gaziev. Acosta's 15-2 overall, 8-2 in the UFC. Gaziev is 14-1 overall, 3-1 in the UFC. They're both coming off of wins. Gaziev's on a 2-fight win streak. Let me take a look at Acosta. He's never been finished on the feet or on the ground. He's only lost 2 decisions. So that's kind of crazy. Never been finished at all. Gaziev has been finished on the feet 1 time and has never been subbed. 9 wins by KO TKO, 3 wins by sub, 2-0 by decision. Cortez Acosta won that fight against Ante Delia, which, you know, was the weird one where they, you know, did the replay shit. That was back in the beginning of November. So that was 20 days ago, which was crazy. 19 days ago, shit, at this point. It'll be what, 21 days when they actually fight. So yeah, but he had that fight against Ante Delia where they did the replay thing, and then he comes back and winds up knocking out Delia, and, you know, with the first punch he throws when they get back in that cage, which is insane. Gets the performance of the night bonus on that one. And yeah, he wins with at 3 minutes and 59 seconds of the first round. Before that, he had lost to Sergey Pavlovich, but he had a good win streak going before that. 5 wins in a row. He beat some pretty big names: Andre Arlovsky, Robeles de Spain, Ryan Spann, Sergey Spivak, Lucas Brzeski. But then he lost to Pavlovich by unanimous decision and came back and beat Delia. So we'll see how he does on this short notice fight. You know, he fights out of Arizona apparently, so now he has to make his way to Qatar, and yeah, that's going to be crazy because this just got announced yesterday, I think. So Gaziev gets to stay on the card, and he is now fighting Cortez Acosta. He's 3-1 in the UFC. He's on a 2-fight win streak with wins over Thomas Peterson and Dontel Mays. 1 by decision, 1 by TKO, which is his last fight in the first round, TKO win. His last loss was to Jairzinho Rosenstruck, who's right now the DBX champion. But that was back in March of 2024. I could have swore I saw something. I believe in the blob. Yeah, man. I think this could be a really interesting fight, especially with Cortez Acosta coming on short notice and Gaziev being as good as he is. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this one. I think it's going to be a good one. Next up, we got Jack Hermansson versus Miktabek Orabai. Man, Hermansson is coming off that nasty loss to RoboCop where he got knocked the fuck out, and that was like 4 months ago, which is insane because he got knocked out bad and he stayed on the canvas for a little while. So this is interesting watching him come back to fight somebody like Miktabek Orabai, who had that crazy fucking fight with who the fuck was it? Let me look because it's gonna drive me nuts. Mateusz Rebecki had that crazy bloody fucking fight of the night where he actually got the decision by split decision. He got the win, but and that was his last. I think no, that was not his last fight. His last fight was against Tofik Musayev, where he got a Kimura win in the first round. I'm sorry, he lost to Rebecki. What the fuck? Did I say he won? Yeah, he lost to Rebecki. That was 2 fights ago. He got in a pretty decent scrap with Musayev, but got that Kimura win. And Hermansson, like I said, coming off that nasty loss to RoboCop 4 months ago. Round 1, TKO, back in June. Before that, he beat Joe Pyfer. That's when everyone called a fraud check on Joe Pyfer. Oh shit, as I'm sorry, that probably was really loud. But yeah, he beat Joe Pyfer by unanimous decision to hand him his first loss. He lost to Roman Dolidze before that. And I could keep going, but I'll just tell you this. Hermansson's been on a win-loss streak for quite a while. Since it started with a loss in 2019 to Jared Cannonier. And since then, he had a bunch of wins in a row before that, but then he got that loss, and it's been win-loss since 2019. So if that streak keeps up, he's coming off of a loss to RoboCop, so that kind of thing would mean that he was ready to get a win. But I don't know if he's gonna do that, considering how he got knocked out in his last fight, and the fact that Orobai is a tough motherfucker. Was a lightweight in his last fight, and Jack Hermansson was a middleweight in his last fight. Yeah, and they're fighting at welterweight in this fight. So they're both not fighting in their normal weight class. So that should be interesting. And on top of the fact, all of the other stuff in between, Orobai being as tough as he is, it's going to make it hard for Hermansson to get him out of there. And with Hermansson just getting knocked out recently, if Orobai lands some good shots on him, he might be able to get him out of there sooner than, when Hermansson's at 100%. He might be at 100% now, who knows? But that was such a bad knockout to turn around and fight 4 months later. That's kind of the bad thing that Volkanovski did. But that's just how things go. So we'll see how that fight turns out. Next up, we got Volkan Ozdemir versus Alonzo Menafield. This has potential to be a decent fight, but it could also be a stinker because they've both been involved in both of those kinds of fights. This is happening in the men's light heavyweight division. Orobai moved up because he couldn't make fucking weight. I don't know why Hermansson is moving down a weight class, especially after a KO. Yeah, that's what didn't make sense to me at all. Yeah, it didn't make sense at all. Like, why the fuck is he? I was gonna see. Nah, fuck it. But yeah, it doesn't. It's a weird situation with that fight. Just there's so many things involved, and I think that's what's crazy about it. So I mean, it's gonna be interesting to see how that plays out. But we got Ozdemir versus Menafield at light heavyweight, and Ozdemir is 20-8 overall and 8-7 in the UFC. Menafield 17-5 overall, 10-5 in the UFC. That submission column for Menafield is interesting, 4-0 there. So not a ton of subs for him, but he's never been subbed, while Ozdemir has 2 subs and also been subbed 2 times. But look at that, 13-0 by KO TKO 13-2 in the KO TKO column for Ozdemir, which is impressive. You get to those double digits and it looks pretty good. Menafield's only 1 away from that. He's at 9-3. They both have winning records in the decision column, but it looks like Ozdemir's coming off a loss. Menafield's on a 2-fight win streak. Let's take a look at Ozdemir's loss and who it was to. Carlos Oberg, unanimous decision back in November of last year. So it's been a year since he fought. Before that loss to Oberg, he was on a 2-fight win streak with wins over Bogdan Guskov and Johnny Walker, where he got a first-round TKO win over Johnny Walker and a performance of the night bonus. So, he's got the potential to do big things. Menafield is one of those guys that looks like he should be a lot better than he is, but it just seems like he, doesn't put together a ton of wins. Okay, I have to be up early as shit tomorrow, so I gotta dip, but have a good night. Oh, all right, Tyler. Appreciate you for jumping in as usual and interacting, man. Thanks a lot. Good luck in that tournament, and come back on Sunday for the recap of everything you might have missed or saw later. Good luck, though, man. Yeah, so Menafield is on a 2-fight win streak with wins over Julius Walker, split decision there. Had a fight of the night bonus on that one. And then Umar C, a win by unanimous decision there back in June. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak. He also lost to Carlos Oberg, and then also Azamat Mirzakhanov. So yeah, this should be an interesting fight. Light heavyweight division, you know, both these guys have had exciting fights here and there. We'll see how they do against each other. We got one looking to get back in the win column, and in Ozdemir, and Menefield looking to extend his win streak to 3. So we'll move on to the co-main event. We got Belal Muhammad versus Ian Machado Gary. So with this one, man, I'm kind of leaning in the Ian Gary side, and a lot of that has to do with the fact that I just can't stand Belal Muhammad, honestly. And yesterday or today's just, I mean, those comments, man, it's just, it solidifies what the fuck I've always thought of Belal Muhammad, which is he is not good on a mic. He just isn't. He's cringe. He's fucking annoying. Every time I have to hear him speak, it's just like nails on a chalkboard because I'm just annoyed by him. So I give him credit for the skills he has in you know, in the sport, but you know, the way he lost the title, just, I mean, it was a hard fought loss, unfortunately, for him, and he lost the title quickly, but I didn't expect him to hold on to that title for very long. A lot of people said a lot of things when he won that title, but for me, I was just like, there's no way he's going to be a long-standing champion. There's no way. And he proved that correct quickly, even though, you know, Jack Della didn't do well in his fight, in his first defense, and lost it you know, quickly as well. Belal wins via poorly executed choice. Belal got oh god. See, yeah, I mean, there's so many things you can say about Belal because of the dumb shit he says. It's so annoying. But hey, I guess we're entertained and it makes us laugh, so that's the only good part. But yeah, I just even if it goes to decision, I see Gary being able to pull this one out, unless Belal just stepped up his game in one way or another, whether it be striking or grappling or wrestling. I don't know. I don't see him being able to overcome what Gary can bring to the table, even though we've seen Gary not be as exciting as he was in the beginning. You know, he's still 16-1 overall, 9-1 in the UFC. He's only got that one loss to Shavkat, where, you know, he put up a fight. It's just, you know, he didn't do enough. The only fighter I picked Belal to beat is an older Usman. Yeah, he'll get at those knees, and Usman, but shit. Whew. I still give Usman a little bit of a chance, honestly. Maybe it's because I just don't like Belal that much. I don't know, man, but it would be an interesting fight to see for sure. But yeah, Ian Gary, man, he's so hungry. He talks so much shit that I think he feels the pressure to back it up, regardless of what kind of, you know, facade he puts out there. But I do think that he's hungry to keep moving up and you know, get far away from that loss. So I think he's very hungry to get in there and win. He's never been stopped on the feet or by submission. He's only lost one fight, and it's been by decision. So the only thing is Belal Muhammad is a fucking decision machine. As you can see, 18-3 by decision, not Usman at 38. I know, I'm just hoping, man. I'm pulling out for the old guy here because the annoying guy is annoying. But yeah, you're probably right, Johnny. Yeah, but I mean, as you can see, Belal's a decision machine, boring as fuck. I hate to say it, but I have to say it. 1-0 by sub, 5-1 by KO TKO. So, you know, that's tough because you know, Gary has won more of his fights by decision than anything else, but only by 1. Belal has won more by decision by 15 or 12, whatever, same thing, double digits. It's crazy how many decisions. So he is coming off a loss. That was when he lost his title. So you know he's going to be hungry. You know he's going to come back really wanting to bounce back from that loss. Let's take a look at Belal and what he did before that last loss to Jack Della Maddalena. That was back in May of this year. He did get a fight of the night bonus for that fight. I wonder where Gary will rank after this fight. That's a good question. I don't know, man, because right now, what's he ranked right now? I totally forgot. Let me bring it up real fast because I am interested. where are we at? Middleweight, right? No, welterweight. No, where the fuck? Welterweight. No? Yeah, welterweight. Right now, Ian is at 6. So if he beats Bilal, who's at number 2 right now, yeah, I would say, I don't know that he trades places with him, but I guarantee he moves up 1 and Bilal just drops. But I don't know. That's tough. He's got Carlos Prates, who just won, ahead of him. Shavkat, who hasn't fought in a while, ahead of him. And Michael Morales, who just fought and won, ahead of him as well. But Machado has been in the 6th, ranked number 6 for a little bit. So, because he didn't move at all after this week's rankings changes. Michael Morales went up 5. Carlos Prates went up 4, which means they both went up past Machado. Gary. So yeah, he just hasn't fought him, recently, but he's about to. Bilal Muhammad, though, lost to Jack Della, won the title over Leon Edwards by unanimous decision. That was his fight before that. He was on a pretty decent win streak there. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 fight win streak going into that title fight, or going into the fight with Jack Della. He beat Gilbert Burns, Sean Brady, Vicente Luque, Wonder Boy, Damian Maia, Diego Lima, Lyman Good. Yeah, so a bunch of people. And yeah, it was he was on a good win streak, and a lot of people thought he should have gotten the title shot way sooner than he did. But again, we saw he came in, he won it by decision, and then turned around and lost it quickly. So it's tough, but yeah, it's one of those things where, I just don't. If he turns around and turns back into the fighter he was, I don't know if that's enough to beat Ian Machado Gary, because Gary is on a different level, I think, and has been from Bilal. Bilal's just been in the game longer, I feel like. I think Gary has the talent to be able to move past what Bilal has done and maybe be way better. He beat Carlos Prates in his last fight by unanimous decision, where he handed Prates his first loss of his career. Before that was his first loss of his career against Shavkat Rakhmonov. But yeah, Bilal is older as well, so that's the thing that Johnny just pointed out. That is true. Bilal is older, so if he's gonna bounce back from this win, how much time does he have before his age catches up to him? And even if it hasn't already, then maybe this is gonna show his age a little more, fighting somebody like Ian Gary, who's quite a bit younger than him. So, but yeah, he also beat MVP Jeff Neal. But look at all of his fights, spanning back to 2023. So 1, 2, 3, 4. His last 5 fights have all been by decision, win or lose. All of them have been unanimous decision as well, except for one, which was the win over Jeff Neal. He hasn't got a finish since the head kick KO over Daniel Rodriguez, which is that one on the left, where he got the performance of the night bonus. That was his last bonus as well. That was back in May of 2023 was the last time he got a finish. So fighting Bilal, the decision fucking machine, that's bad, because Bilal wins decisions a lot. That's how he wins most of his fights. But can he hang in there? Like Johnny said, with the age, is Gary way too, kind of ahead of where Bilal is right now? Bilal just was a champ not too long ago, though, so you got to remember that. When Dylan was getting jumped, I heard Leon's coach say, "Don't let the bullies." Oh my God, that's good shit. John Witherspoon.
Another one.
I like it, man. That was fucking funny. Oh, that's good shit. Oh, man. Yeah, so that's Ian Gary versus Bilal Muhammad. I'm leaning to Gary on this one. I don't see how Bilal would get it done. But, oh, that's great, man. I love it. Let's move on to our main event with Arman Tsarukyan versus Dan Hooker. I feel like this one has some good potential to be a great fight. you know, if Dan Hooker can hang in there and keep himself off the ground, he'll definitely have a better chance. But he's not the worst on the ground, you know what I mean? He's got more submission wins than Armin does. But Armin's really good at holding people down and finishing them with some ground and pound and shit. So, I mean, we're not really thinking so much about the subs. It's more, how do you think Ian takedown defense will be against Islam? Ooh, that one's tough because Islam's on another level. I want to see how he does against Bilal. And then, because, you know, Bilal likes it. I don't know. I guess maybe that's not the best one. I don't think he fares too well against Islam. I just think that he's got enough smarts and enough want and will and enough talent to be able to find a way back up. So I think against Islam it would be tough, and he's definitely going to get taken down, but I don't know that it's what completely takes him out of the game like it did Jack Della. So, but that might be a sign of things with how Jack, you know, struggled so much. But you never know. It's a tough one. So Armin, like I said, he likes to take people down, but he ground and pounds them out a lot as well. He's got nine finishes by KO TKO. He's 8-2 by decision. He's on a 4-fight win streak. You know, a lot of people think he should have gotten that title shot already. We talked about that earlier. You know, but with the injury and stuff, yeah, it just didn't happen, and now he's looking to get back and find his way back to that title shot. Dan Hooker's looking to spoil that though with his craziness in his fights. He's 24-12 overall, 14-8 in the UFC, 11-3 by KO TKO, 7-3 by sub, 6-6 by decision. He's on a 3-fight win streak as well. Let's take a look at Armin, and his last fight was back in April of last year, where he won a split decision win over Charles Oliveira, and he almost got subbed in that one. So that's, you know, that's what I'm thinking, that Hooker has a decent chance if he can find the position against Armin. If Armin takes him down and tries to, you know, do some ground and pound, maybe he can find a submission in the middle of all that. Because, you know, we saw, but he did survive against Oliveira in all those submission attempts, so his submission defense is good as well. So yeah, it's kind of a toss-up, but that was his last fight back in April of last year. Had the injury, it's taken him forever to come back. Finally, he's back a little over a year later, and he also got a win over Beneil Dariush, as you see in that left picture, with the TKO win in the first round. Performance of the night bonus, pretty similar to what we saw coming from Dariush against BSD. And then he beat Joaquim Silva and Damir Ismagulov as well to round out that 4-fight win streak that he's on. His last loss was to Mateusz Gamrot. That was a fight of the night bonus though. It was a unanimous decision loss, but he gave him a good fight because he got a bonus for that one. Hooker, no Charles? No. Definitely not, but you know, he might be able to pull something off, because Hooker's one of those guys that pulls off, that, you know, has the chance to pull off a Hail Mary, whether it's a one-punch finish or sneaking in a submission somewhere. But he definitely doesn't have the skills of Charles, which is why I'm just giving out very small possibilities of how he could win a fight, basically. So yeah, his Armin's last loss was to Mateusz Gamrot back in 2022 by unanimous decision. Let's take a look at Hooker and check out who he's beat on his 3-fight win streak. He beat Gamrot in his last fight by split decision, which is a crazy fight of the night win for him. He beat Jalen Turner in that left picture there by split decision back in July of 2023. So yeah, Hooker hasn't fought in over a year as well. So that's interesting about both these guys. And then Claudio Puelles was his 3rd fight in that 3-fight win streak, where he got a TKO win in the 2nd round by body kick. Before that, he was on a 2-fight losing streak to Arnold Allen and Islam Makhachev. So understandable on both accounts there. He beat Nasrat Haqparast before that, and then was on another 2-fight losing streak to Dustin Poirier and Michael Chandler. But that Dustin Poirier fight was a fucking banger, man. In the Apex, One of the very few fights I really enjoyed at the Apex because you could hear every fucking punch, and it was insane to hear them go back and forth landing those punches. It was crazy. So yeah, I mean, this is gonna be an interesting fight. Armin should definitely win this fight. I don't see how he doesn't, but Charles, what the fuck? I was thinking Charles Oliveira. Not Charles, but Dan Hooker, like I said, he always has a Hail Mary to throw out there and possibly get a win by landing a big punch or you know, just fucking toughing out something where he gets in a good position to, you know, sneak in a submission. Armin is the underdog of the week. 16% return is huge. Bet 100 and win 16. That was the best fight during the pandemic. Oh, it definitely was. It definitely was. Yeah, yeah, so Armin is minus 440 favorite. Hooker is a plus 310. Let's see, Bilal is a slight underdog by plus 150, and Ian Gary is a 190 favorite. Menafield is the slight underdog against Ozdemir, who's minus 250. Hermanson is a slight underdog, 165 to minus 215 for Orobai. And then Acosta's a slight favorite coming in at you know, last minute against Gaziv, who is a plus 130 slight underdog. That's crazy. And then Kyoji Horiguchi is a slight underdog at plus 145 against Ulanbekov, who's a minus 190. So some pretty close fights in the odds, except for that main event, of course. Yeah, not too bad. They're all pretty close except for the main event. Zhang should stay at flyweight and fight Rose next. Yeah, I bet she definitely should go back to flyweight, because yeah, I see minus 625. You're lucky if you're getting my, yeah, I'm going off of Tapology. That's just what they have here for now. But yeah, you look everywhere, you're gonna get something different for sure. But yeah, I'm looking at Tapology, so unless one of the betting pages have it at that, then yeah. Anyway, let's do the fight wheel predictions before we get out of here. Trying to wrap this up here in just a minute. But yeah, let's take a look first at how the fight wheel predictions did last week for the UFC 322 pay-per-view. We had Sean Brady getting the win over Michael Morales, which he did not. BSD beating Beneil Dariush, which he did. Weili Zhang beating Valentina, which she did not. Oh my God, Leon Edwards beating Prates, he did not. And Jack Della beating Islam, he did not. BSD is the only one that got the win. So I went, what was it, 4-1 and 5-1 for the 2 weeks before this, and then this fight I go 1-4. That's insane. Not me, it's the fight wheel predictions, man. They're all random. That's what I do, is I pick them randomly because my picks suck anyway, so I might as well do it randomly and see how it goes. So let's clear out this predictions from last week, and let's take a look at what the fight wheel has for us this week. Let's get started with the first wheel spin. 6 fights on this main card, so we got 6 predictions coming right up. The first one will be Sergey Spivak. Oh shit, you know what? Spivak, I forgot. He's out. So, you know, let me redo this because I didn't update this one. Was it Spivak that's out, right? Yeah, against Gaziv, now Cortez Acosta. So let me fix that. I fixed everything else before I got in here, but that's the one oh shit, I put that in the wrong spot. I fixed everything else before I got in here, and this is the one thing I forgot. I'm just gonna put Acosta because his name's too fucking long. All right, let's start that wheel again. I'm glad that's the first one that came up, so it showed me what I did wrong. All right, here's your first prediction from the fight wheel, and we got Jack Hermanson. Nope. Victor Big Orobai to beat Jack Hermanson, which seems like the proper pick in that instance, I think. And Orobai is the favorite, so that's your first fight wheel prediction. Let's go with the second spin here. and see who else we got for UFC Qatar main card. Volkan Ozdemir to beat, who's he fighting? Why am I blanking? Oh, Alonzo Menafield. I did put Menafield in here, right? Okay. Maybe I didn't. Well, anyway, it's okay, because it's all random. Actually, I think whatever. All right, next up. What was I gonna say? Fuck, I was about to say something and I totally spaced it. Waldo Cortez Acosta coming in on short notice to beat Shamil Gaziev. I don't know that that's gonna be the way that this fight goes, but it's not a bad pick, I guess. I don't know. That one's tough. It's a toss-up because Acosta's kind of been a beast lately. Like, what the fuck is happening? Stepping in on short notice, doing what he did to Delija. Yeah, it's crazy. So who knows? He definitely has a chance. So that's 3 fights down, 3 fights to go. The co-main and main still left, and it looks like the co-main is getting picked right now. Ian Machado Gary to beat Bilal Muhammad. That is my pick as well, so let's hope that that's correct. There's that pick. So co-main down. Oh, I keep shutting that fucking window, man. All right, next up with 2 more. Tagiro Limbekov to beat Kyoji Horiguchi, which is not what I'm hoping for, but it's not a bad prediction. And I'm gonna write Tagir because that's way easier to spell than Ulanbekov. So I would love to see Kyoji Horiguchi get that win though. So let's hope that that goes the opposite way. And here's your last pick, the main fight, the main event for the UFC Qatar. And we're looking at Arman Tsarukyan to beat Dan Hooker. That's probably how that goes. So the Fight Wheel has a decent picks this week, a better chance to do better than 1-4 like it did last week, which was tough. So we got Miktabek Orobai to beat Jack Hermanson, Volkan Ozdemir to beat Alonzo Menafield, Waldo Cortez Acosta on short notice to beat Shamil Gaziev. We got Ian Gary to beat Bilal Muhammad in the co-main event, Tagir Limbekov to beat Kyoji Horiguchi in the first fight on the main card, and then the main event, Arman Tsarukyan to beat Dan Hooker. Not a bad round of picks on that one if I looking at this in the overall perspective, but those are your Fight Wheel predictions for UFC Qatar. And that about does it for me, man. I've talked enough tonight, but that was fun. You guys made it fun. The interactions are always cool. Infinity, I appreciate you for always jumping in, man. Don't forget to go follow DJ Infinity's page. He's got some good stuff coming up here soon. He's gonna have more details to come out, but he just, put out a video tonight. You can go check that out and see what everything's going on. I know I'll be definitely asking some more questions myself, and I'll go back and check out the rest of that video because I jumped in at the tail end. So go check it out. Follow Infinity. You'll see me on his show here sometime in the near future. I owe him a couple visits and a couple shows. He's been on here quite a bit, so I'll definitely be paying that up soon. And now he's got a whole new setup and ready to go and put some content out there, so it should be fun. Go check it out. Thanks again to Johnny, Jamal Witherspoon, Tyler Fish as usual, and yeah, anyone else that jumped in, appreciate you all. Make sure you hit that like button before you leave here, please. It takes 1 quick second just to go and hit that like button. It helps me out, and yeah, it's good stuff. If you like it, please like it, and then don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already, and hit that notification bell as well. That's it for me. Don't forget, Watch Party Podcast for UFC Qatar happening on Saturday, 11 a.m. my time, but when the main card goes live, I will be live breaking down all the fights, live reacting. I get more into play-by-play stuff when I'm by myself, and I will be alone doing the watch party by myself. So come in and keep me company, talk to me about all the fights. It'll be fun. That's it for me. I'm out of here. Don't forget about the fights being early. That's it. I'm out. Take it easy. Peace.